This is a historic day, and as it should be, there's a lot of heavy work, heavy lifting done by a lot of different folks, and you're going to get a chance to hear from some of them for a few minutes. But I can tell you how grateful I am to the legislature, both the House and Senate, and both sides of the aisle, for the cooperation that they put into this. They stick-to-itness, that they continue to make the effort to make sure that we did the right thing. A lot of folks, I know when I finished my State of the State at a 7.4% increase in education, $101 million, said, well, are you reaching too far? And I said, well, you know, I remembered most of the campaigns on both sides of the aisle and for both sides of the rotunda. And there was a lot of talk on the success that we would have in our education system should we go forward with the at least 20 recommendations that were made by the task force. And so today we meet after a long, arduous journey through that task force, through Props 1, 2, and 3, and through a big effort on behalf of the school and future of education in Idaho. And so with that, I have already signed my signature. I will just put the time on it with one pen. So it is that on the 2nd day of April, at 9:00 a.m. It is now, will now be part of the history books. Sherry, would you like to say something?
Well, I would like to thank Governor Otter this morning and thank the legislature and everybody for allowing the State Department to have input and working with us on moving forward. We really appreciate allowing our changes into this as well. We have always supported raises for teachers, and the changes that were made was an example of how willing all the folks were coming to the table to work together to make this happen. So in moving forward, the State Department of Education will be responsible for implementing this, and so we just want folks to know that we are going to have a team put together if they have questions at the State Department to help them at the district level and at the local level. So at this time, I just want to thank the legislature and the governor for allowing us to be part of this process. As a new superintendent coming in, I walked into it, and they were very gracious in allowing us to have our input as well. So thank you, and this is an exciting time.
Because of the successful conclusion of this process, and I think it's indicative of the folks in this room, a great deal of goodwill has been generated. I hope at this point in time we can take that goodwill and bank it, because there's going to be points along the road now as we start to implement that we're going to need to cash those checks, because we're going to hit some bumps. And so I would appeal to everybody that's been involved in that process to allow us to bank that goodwill, because now the process of making this reality takes hold.
Speaking on behalf of the minority on the House Education Committee, this had a really rough beginning. When the draft was initially debuted, you know, I nicknamed it the pitchfork hearing. But we went from there in the course of a week through incredibly hard work by the chairman and so many stakeholders who were there, I think, round the clock, just listening to everybody's input, making really thoughtful changes to the bill. And by the end of the day, we had just a monumental success, I think, and it is really a tribute to those folks that were involved to come up with something this big that impacts this many people, that costs this much, frankly, and that impacts tens of thousands of people across the state. And to have everybody come in at the end of the day and enthusiastically support it, I think was a triumph, and my congratulations go to all parties involved.